Gentlemen, and welcome to Team Untapped Book Club's Greek reading. Yay! We are at episode
Yay.
number 6. Another 4 more episodes, and we can have a small celebration. We'll be at chapter 10. Wow! Yay!
Read through the book already.
I really think that we are amazing, because it's been an interesting journey, right? And I'm a bit sad that you guys can't see my hair today, because I did up my hair just for today.
I can see a little bit, but it looks like it's been cropped off by the graphics. So
Yeah. Well, I'm finally at an office today. Hang on, let me see if I can turn off the background for a bit. Just turn off the background for a while. There you go. Oh no, my hair looks weird when I turn off the background.
you look fine.
Okay, let's bring the background back. There we go. Right. Oh, why this thing changed? No, stay in grid mode. Yeah. Okay. So Tika, are you looking at the Twitch stream?
I'm about to go into Twitch.
Okay, cool. So we've got about 5 more minutes before we start the chapter. Wow, this chapter was, whew. I was reading this chapter while I was driving to Ipoh. Can you imagine reading this chapter while driving to Ipoh?
You got an automatic car or something that self-drives.
No, I don't. But it was so interesting to read that I just kept reading it as I went along. Morning.
It's not a very long chapter, so okay. Truth to be told, I just read it like yesterday. So, but I think the message in it is quite a significant one because it explains to you how to get really into your interests and passions, and then that's complete win. I mean, that's my key takeaway from this chapter.
Wow. Oops. I think everyone can see my screen now. Can see my WhatsApp.
Yes.
No, I see nothing. I only saw Bukit Gasing Trail.
Yeah, you never know, right? These people online, they pause and then they watch my WhatsApp slowly. So
Right?
it's gonna be interesting, right? So I'm gonna see my eSpring auxiliary faucet somewhere. Hang on. Eva asked me to message her once we get on. Okay. Oh, hi Hidayah. Yay, Hidayah joined us this morning.
Hello.
Welcome, Hidayah.
The powerful thing about Hidayah is whatever time she sleeps, right, she still is able to wake up in the morning. That's a lot of grit right there.
Yeah, I still need to work on that. I used to be able to, but nowadays no more. I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. to read, literally.
Wow.
Before I go for my morning walk, that time so Rajin. Now it's like that was like a completely different person. Like, who was that? Was that me? I can't believe it. So I'm a completely different person now. It's like now I can't even get up past 5 o'clock. Has to be around 8 and make breakfast. If I'm tired, I'll take another nap. Yeah, it's like a completely different person now.
That was Ray 1.0. Now we have Ray 2.0, right?
I don't know. I felt like I regressed somehow.
In stock trading and in forex trading, we have a saying: a regression is just getting ready for you to go further. Right? So yeah, you know.
Oh, that's an. Is it like pulling back a bowstring?
Yeah, because when you're
Oh,
doing trading, right? So the you have got a graph, right, with waves and all that, right? So you'll see whenever there's a dip, okay, it means that the graph is going to go higher soon. So yeah, it's called a pullback in market analysis systems, right? So yeah,
okay.
Sounds like elastic band, you tarik back.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
the catapult effect. Wow, Hidayah is listening while listening to another training. Don't let your boss know.
Imagine, wow.
Don't let your boss know. Okay, so it's still reading time. There's another 3 more minutes of reading time, and we'll get into this delicious chapter. This chapter is really fun. Serious, this chapter is really fun. Hidayah says her boss didn't join Twitch. Oh, okay, that's good. That's good, right? Maybe he joined under a different username. You don't know. Okay. So what time did you guys read this chapter? I know Atika started very early. Atika, when did you start reading the chapter?
Last Saturday. It's like 1 page per day, so it took me like 3 days to
Oh.
finish it.
Wow, 1 page per day.
Yeah, sort of lah. I mean, like I allocate like half an hour a day to read.
That's a good strategy.
Mm.
That's a nice plan.
Yeah, I should probably do that as well for my other books.
This is the other book that I'm reading. Not sure if you guys can see.
The Age of Influence.
Yep, I just started on this one. I just finished reading the history of the NBA. So now I'm starting on a new book. So
Nice.
yeah, I am amazed by people who can read for half an hour a day.
I have to, because I have a lot of things to do, so I have to allocate my time for everything.
I can't. I always get caught up in the book and then I end up reading for 3 hours instead of 30 minutes.
Wow.
So hello everybody on our Twitch chat right now. What's up, people? Thanks for joining us on the Twitch chat. It's amazing to have you guys around. If you would be a nice friend of ours and like and subscribe, that would be amazing. If you think what we are doing is good, please like and subscribe. If you think what we are doing is not so good, let us know so that we can improve. Alright, and yeah, let's begin. Okay, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Team Untapped Book Club Greek episode number 6. Whee! So as I mentioned slightly earlier, right, in another few more chapters we should have a celebration, right? Let's do a celebration for episode number 10. You know, it's like, yay, we managed to reach 10 episodes. We are gritty enough for 10 episodes. You know,
Yeah, I
if
agree. It does take like some level of commitment and grit to keep at this. I mean, it has been like what, 6 weeks, is it? Because it's chapter 6.
yeah,
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
right. So I really think that's gonna be amazing, man. So without further ado, let's go into Grit by Angela Duckworth. Okay. Before we start talking about the book club, here's some reminders before we begin. Right. There are, number one, polite questions from the audience are always welcome, especially if they're related to the book. All right. We love an open discussion, so discussions may be deep and come from any angle. So we are open to receiving ideas from everyone. We hope that everyone would be open to receiving ideas from everyone else. Okay. If you feel that the experience is a personal one and you want to share it, go ahead, don't worry. We try to keep a safe space so that everybody will not attack your personal opinion. Okay, all these experiences come from people's personal experiences, so let's allow everybody to share their point of view. Okay, so these are the 3 rules that we have for our book club, and with that being out of the way, let's begin. Chapter 6. Yay! So chapter 6 is a very interesting chapter in the book, because chapter 6 is the part of the book that says part 2, growing grit from the inside out. Wow, sounds so deep. What do you guys think of this title, growing grit from the inside out? Does it bear special meaning to you guys, or do you guys think grit can grow from inside out and outside in, no problem?
Yeah, it means that anyone could, for me, it means anyone, including yourself, can actually find and nurture your grit. It's not some magic spell formula, or you're born with it. You know, you can actually make it happen for yourself. Anyone can do it. Yeah. And that's a very empowering message.
Right. Tika, what do you think?
Sort of similar, because I always think like only like successful people have like
Something special.
something, something special, but it's actually like like we say, like you can actually have inside you growing without like you don't need to be like
Privilege.
to have, like, yeah, to have privilege, or to have like good qualification and something like that lah.
Yes.
You know when I see the title growing grit from the inside out, I think of the Beauty and the Beast song. There's something strange that no one knows. Da 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 da. Because it's like, it's interesting to me to see that grit can be grown from the inside out. I always thought that grit was something that, your circumstances dictate you. Like if you grow up in a time where you had to eat potatoes and only potatoes to survive, like during the Japanese occupation era or whatever, you tend to be more gritty. That's what I thought. But this book has always challenged my point of view on that. So I find that to be very, very interesting. Okay, so the last chapter we mentioned about the 4 ways to grow grit, and the first one is interest. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about chapter 6, interest. This interest. Yeah.
Sometimes I like that word better than passion, to be honest. It's like I like it, so I do it. I have an interest in it.
Wow. Okay, I want to hear more about this, but I think we have a particular section about this where it talks about interest and passion. So I think we will invite Ray to share a little bit more in that section. So if
On interest,
Yeah.
let's see. I it's like I just read it yesterday, so
I have a
So guys,
slide for it. Yeah, I have a slide for it
Right.
further down. So let's build the anticipation of the audience until there. Yeah.
Okay, everyone is familiar with the term "follow your passion," right? Especially when Steve Jobs was like thrusted into the limelight, and he made Apple like great again, and he's all about staying hungry and staying foolish and connecting the dots, and above all, it's about following your passion. Is that right?
Yep, that's
As
how
far
we
as
started
our
this
good-
chapter, right?
Yeah, I think it's something that has become very popular in the late 80s, where they where you see a lot of messages which encourage, and the philosophy of encouraging you that passion matters. Once you find, even I think there's a saying in Lao Tzu, if you find something that you like to do, then you don't have to work for a single day.
Yeah.
Right,
It's a very
right.
powerful saying that. Yep.
Yeah, but I think interestingly, I think Angela, her father, has challenged that notion, that this is something that I would also like to to explore and discuss with the both of you, because I certainly know that I have parents that challenge that notion of following action, and especially my dad as well, because he started off, he just studied in school to get a scholarship, and whatever field was available to him, he just take it. And since everyone was doing electrical engineering, then okay, lor, he take electrical engineering as well, because he's scared of blood and can't. So that was the choice that was given to him at the time. However, he worked. I mean, just like Angela's father, basically he just continued to stick at it and work and apply whatever he knows in and his interest in the area of film and TV, and eventually he got somewhere in it. However, he does not attribute his success to passion, so to speak.
Which
Do you
is
have any of that? I mean,
which
have you come across something similar here?
Yeah, I think you make a very very solid point here, which is, the father actually ended up doing something that he liked, but he doesn't
Yeah,
dictate it as passion, right?
yeah.
So I think the first question is, what is so-called passion? Like we need to define, or at least set some guidelines. What is passion, right? And the first part of the book, right, the first page, right, Angela actually says, right, one of her friends actually mentioned that, so if today you were to lose everything that you are doing today, okay, what will you be doing tomorrow?
Oh,
That
powerful question.
yeah, that was a question that, let's see, where was the question asked? I think the question was asked in the first part of the chapter. Wait, where was it? Who was the one? Yeah, there you go. Hester Lacey, right? He's a journalist who's been talking to Bezos and Shorts and all the high level people, right? So he asked them, okay, what drives you? And if you lose everything tomorrow, what would you do, right? And all these people says, oh, I love what I do, right? Every morning I get up, I want to go do this. I cannot wait to get to the studio or the next project because this is what I like to do, right? So I think let's set some guideline for the word passion, right? If you lost everything tomorrow, what would you do? I think that would give us a good guideline on what passion kind of needs to be, so that we can explore further into the idea of whether Angela's father is following his passion or not. Right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a good definition, or do you guys think that do you guys have a different definition maybe?
I think this is actually a very specific question, and it comes to it gets you to think and to focus. Like exactly, you start like revising or reviewing in your own mind. If I really lose everything, then what will I be doing? And why not we ask this question more? So it's like, Kenji, what will you be doing if, let's say, you lose?
If I were to lose everything,
Hmm?
I
So ask among
felt
ourselves.
I felt like I've been through that a few times in my life.
So it's not as straightforward.
And I think I've been through this question a few times in my life, and I actually end up doing the things that I am doing still, which is the Amway business, right? So if I lost everything today, tomorrow what would I do? I would be doing the Amway business still. I think I find talking to people, helping people out, and just being there for people to be something that I really like doing. It's like a passion of mine. Like a few things that I want to do in life include being able to generate power generate electricity for people, being able to feed people, being able to clothe people, and being able to house people, and being able to educate people. These are the 5 things that I want to do in life. So if I lost everything, right, I would still end up doing one of these 5 things. So I'm pretty sure I know where my passions lie. Just what are the ways that I implement them, I suppose that's different. What
Sounds
about
like
you?
that sounds Kenji. It sounds like your interest also lies in interacting with people, and that you like people in general. So if really the planet there's gonna be an apocalypse tomorrow, the planet's gonna get blown up. You watch that movie on Netflix. I forgot what it's called. Look Up or something like that. If you've seen that, then if you're in that situation, I think the first thing Kenji would do is probably to ring up all his close friends, have a big Zoom meeting, and have the great book by his side. I think this is my favorite book ever. It will be with me. He will die with me. It was just a joke.
That sounds about right?
But it's believable though.
That's right.
That I can imagine you do that.
And like, everyone all put on Zoom, and then all his family all around him, hugging one another.
Everybody be like panicking, and then Kenji's like standing up with his book and then going like, "No worries, book is gonna lead us the way."
We will die with grit.
We are the gritty generation. So Atika, what do you think, Atika?
Yeah, I think I want you.
I honestly didn't think like really deep, when this question was posed. I was like, I may not know to do what at first, because there's a lot of things that I like, but I haven't like pinpoint what I like to do, what's my passion about, because until now also it's still vague for me. I mean, last time I thought I liked computer science, but I've been in my career for like 10 years. I'm still like, do I really like it? And then now I'm into fitness. There are times where I feel down when my fitness level doesn't match what my expectation. I'm not really sure about that. I may have to. I think if I really do lost everything at that time, I would stop and gather my thought and think about what I really want to do next, I guess.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I think that's happens to everyone. We change over time, and I think this chapter will help you ask yourself the right questions to find what is your interest.
Yeah.
Ray,
I
since
agree
you
with that.
you threw this question out at everybody, come on, you have to answer it as well.
I said it's not actually a straightforward question when you think about it. If I were to, because honestly, if the world is going to blow up tomorrow, I mean, okay, that's a very extreme level. But if it does, then the first thing that I would do is to connect with my loved ones. And there's nothing to do with my interests. It's more to do with survival. And hey, I'm gonna die. So okay, we take that factor away. That means if let's say I were to, okay, what are we losing here? Is my question.
If you lost everything means if you lost what you have right now, meaning you lost your car, you lost your loved ones, you lost your friends, you lost your money, everything. The only thing you have left is your life, and everything else stays the same.
I don't know, maybe retire in a monastery and become a nun. No. I think interestingly, the first thought that bubbled up is I would go to a volunteer shelter and help others out, and maybe get some food in return for my ex-volunteerism. So yeah, Kenji, if you face the question that way, then that's what I would do. But that's again a case of survival, you see. So I think in the context of this book, if you're talking about interests, then I'll probably go back to teaching or go back to drawing
Oh, really?
and teaching
Interesting.
and trying to and teaching art, I suppose, because that's the only thing that I know. Whether I like it or not, that's yet to be seen. I have to do it more often.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think as we go along the chapter, the question slowly changes from if you lost everything tomorrow, what would you do? To if you lost everything tomorrow, would you be doing what you're doing? That's how I see the chapter converting this question. It's really interesting. So let's actually take a look
Dive
at
in.
it.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hang on, I'll be back.
Just to let you know, she's here, so we're just gonna go in the back and meet her. You can join us whenever you like.
Cool.
You just go straight to the end on the right.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Thanks. See you later.
See you guys. Okay.
Is there anyone in the chat on the Twitch screen
Yeah, I think he
that
died
wants to
there.
share?
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So feel free to type in, just enter in your thoughts and answer the question. If you lose everything tomorrow,
Oh, cry.
and
So I think then we will move to the next question, right? Really smoothly transition ourselves to the next question, which is when we look at
Practicality.
that question of what are you going to do tomorrow, right? Are we looking at practicality or passion? You know, if we were discussing about the question from Angela's father, right? See, Angela's father was like, no, you know, you must do what you need to do, and then after that he ends up going to DuPont, right?
Yeah. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, you know, I've been reading Outliers, so it's like, you know, wow, this guy's really lucky because if it didn't close down, he wouldn't end up with DuPont and he wouldn't be in America, and Angela Duckworth wouldn't be Angela Duckworth. So, yeah, the fact that he was very successful at DuPont, you know, there must have been some circumstances, yeah. So I feel that, of course, circumstance aside, right? Do you think he did it because of practicality, or do you think he did it because of passion? And do you think it's important to be practical or important to have passion with your interests? What do you think, Tika?
This is like interesting because I think in this case it started as practicality and then turns out into a passion because he ended up being the highest status of scientist, right?
Mm.
Yeah, but he didn't actually mention it. I mean, like, he didn't actually mention it as a passion. He always mentioned it as practicality because growing up he actually wanted to become a historian, but because of his family situation, the family needed a chemist, not a historian, so he ended up becoming a chemist.
So
And then
true, right?
and then somehow it's sort of like relate to my life because growing up my dad always say this to me, find something easy. You know, it's not like something like you're passionate about. My dad will be like, find something easy that you don't have headache when you grow old. And he always say like teaching is the best. I'm like, Dad, the teaching is not the best for me. It comes with anxiety and stuff, so I do not want to become a teacher. But he keep on pointing. Yeah, my dad always pointed out, you know, I mean, you become a teacher. He even like brought up form, I mean, like for me to enter TESOL, you know, those kind of things. I'm like, no, I do not want to become a teacher. And then when I talked to my mom was like, if you want to become a teacher, just go ahead. But if you do not want, then do whatever you want to do. I will not stop you. Because my mom said, teaching in a way is fun, but if your passion is not about teaching, it's gonna be very, how to say, not horrifying. It will be very difficult for you to withstand the challenges along the way. Because, yeah, like I say, I do. Teaching comes teaching to me is really hard. I mean, I really respect to all teachers. It's, I don't know how you guys impart wisdom to students, and make them understand.
He-
You have to be
Yeah, it's
overflowing with wisdom or something.
Yeah, true. And seeing that my dad and my mom do that for for their job is like, I don't know. It's really it's really like amazing for me lah. So yeah. So I end up become a computer programmer. So yeah.
Ray, what do you think? Practicality or passion?
well, growing up, I come from a father who emphasizes more on practicality and is forever challenging the idea about passion. But looking at his own path, I would say that it's a combination of both. Because even though he didn't like what he initially studied at university, which is electrical engineering, he actually found a way where he was able to connect his interests with what he learned, and at the same time he also followed what he enjoyed doing at work. At the time, it was in a Dutch electrical company, and working as a service manager. And he observed that the salespeople seem to be getting all the perks. They get to go for nice holidays. They get a nice big fat check at the end of the day when they go to make a sale. So he literally went up to his boss at the time and said, "I don't want to be a technical manager. I want to do sales." So I think that interest got him going, and from there he combined his interest in sales in doing something that he really liked, which is film and television, because he likes watching movies, and I'm sure all of us do, and he also likes music. So which career path at that point was able to intersect both sales and television, and voila, he got into broadcasting. Yeah, so that was his path. So was it practicality / passion? I would personally think it's practicality and interest, in the sense that he actually followed his heart, as in he followed what is it that he really liked to do and want to do and see potential in it. And as you said, through circumstances, it led him into the broadcasting industry, which I didn't think it was a coincidence, because he already likes film and TV. So what is available here? Hey, let's go and see if the broadcasting stations has anything available for me. And he got in. Because bearing in mind that in the 1980s there was no Astro. I mean, there was none of these streaming
No media
platforms. You only
prima
got,
and whatever.
yeah, you only got 2 TV stations at the time. So I guess that narrows your choice in terms of career. And yeah, I think that the rest is history. However, having said that, when he was into his 50s, his interest actually changed into the area of psychology.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that came about because when you're running your own business, you have to understand the people around you, because you have to manage them, right? And he took more interest in understanding what actually motivates the workforce, and most importantly, all these millennial people. What is it that they like? What is it that what can I do to retain them in my company, to attract them? And that sort of led him into understanding human behavior and psychology. And voila, he went and studied it. He even told me that if it weren't for his business, he probably would have been working as a HR manager. I was like, what?
Wow. Very
From
different.
sales to HR. So back to the question, practicality or passion? Looking at it, I think there's some practicality there, because when you run a business, that you run into a lot of problems, I suppose, and you want to solve them. So taking an interest in solving the problems led to other interests.
Which is very true, right? I think that really shows up in your dad's story, right? He's interested. He's interested in living the life that the salespeople get to live, which caused him to go towards a different direction in his career. And then after that, he found passion in whatever he was doing, with dealing with people. Because when you do sales, right, it's all about dealing with people, right? So when he found passion in dealing with people, then he went into psychology, and then it brought him to where he is, right? You know,
Yeah. Now I feel, oh man, now I feel useless. Because I'm thinking, I'm still like a society. I'm still lost,
no,
Oh
you're
dear.
not. You're not useless. You know.
I'm not him.
You know, I think you know, if you look at it this way, right? You know how we say that when you watch YouTube videos, there's like this rabbit hole, and then you go down the rabbit hole, and then you never come back, right? You start
Yeah.
watching one video about cooking, and then you end up watching pimple popper somewhere down the line, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it sounds like that. You know, you start from one end, and then you're going down the rabbit hole to the other end. So don't beat yourself up over it, okay? You're just going down the rabbit hole. Take your time, you know, you're just not there yet.
I'm not my dad.
You're
Totally different
definitely not.
generation.
Yeah, you're definitely not your dad, right? Like, so my own opinion about practicality and passion is simple. I think that passion leads practicality. I've never bothered to do anything practical with my career. I honestly never bothered to do anything practical with my career. The one time in my life where I did something practical in my career, I ended up almost dying. I ended up in an accident that was so bad I fractured my sternum, which is practically the strongest bone in your body, and I managed to fracture it. So that is not fun, because I think that passion leads everything. You see, even if we talk about the example in the book about Angela's father, okay, he may say that it is practical to go to work, right? It sounds practical to go to work, but when you listen to what he's saying, okay, he's actually saying that he likes his job. If he's not thinking about some scientific breakthrough, he's thinking about how to manage people. So that's what he likes, you know, that's in his mind. And if that's in your mind all the time, that becomes your passion, no? I mean, if you're thinking about this girl all the time, right, that means you like this girl, right? Okay, some people say, Kenji, you have too many of these girl, boy relationship examples. Okay, so let's use a different one. If you're thinking about chicken rice all the time, you must like chicken rice, right?
Oh yeah, especially the one in Section 7.
Dude, don't talk.
I just had this tau fu fa yesterday, right? Oh my god. It's the best tau fu fa I've ever had in my life, and I cannot stop thinking about it. So does that mean I love the tau fu fa now? I think so. Right?
But
So
I think we're coming to that, right?
yeah, sorry, go on.
We're coming to that part where it's related to food. But yeah, we're getting to that. Let's continue.
Yeah, actually, that's the next part of the chapter, right? It talks about Julie and Julia, right? I think Angela Duckworth technically answers this question about practicality versus passion, right? She answers it. She talks about her father's example, and she shines light on the fact that her father also focuses on practicality at the beginning, but built a passion because of the practicality, and then because of his passion, continue moving forward. So then the question is, how do we build passion? Right? That's the next part of the book. How do we build passion? I mean, if passion is so important to create a lasting impression on something that you want to do, how do we create or find or build passion? Is it a journey or is it an epiphany? So she uses this example in the book of Julie and Julia, where Julia Child was eating the soul manure. Ayo, sounds like manure.
Sounds like a shoe, but I think it's a fish.
Yeah, it's a fish. It's a
Yeah.
fish dish, right?
Wait, I'm just gonna Google it for the sake of being curious. now I'm interested to know.
Right? So soul manure is a type of fish that is slightly fried and placed on
There it is.
Sauce.
It looks pan fried.
yeah. So that's very interesting, right? She eats that, and then she goes like, "Oh my god, food is so amazing! Oh, epiphany
It's like-
moment!"
It's like this hallelujah chorus starts playing in her mind when the moment she puts it into her mouth and chews it, and then the eye starts to sparkle. You
This
know, I'm thinking,
yakitate Japan moment.
yeah, I was about to say yakitate.
Oh my goodness.
これは Japan!
If you put a yakitate moment,
Yeah, you get the yakitate moment, like wow, you know, everything is like fanfare and celebrations.
bang, the bells ring. Okay, anyway.
So for us, I think we now know that passion is important, because without passion, I don't think Angela's father is gonna go and be a successful scientist in DuPont, right? We find many scientists who just go there do work, right, and then they never get anywhere. So how can we find passion and become like Angela Duckworth's dad? You know? What do you guys think? Is it a journey to find it, or do we actually get it from like an epiphany moment, like yesterday that Tau Fu Fa was like, oh Sevan, you know? What do you guys think?
For me personally, I think it's a journey and also a process. It's like a process where there are some, I wouldn't say milestones, but I think this book says triggers, like little events that sort of keeps on stoking up your interest again to get you encouraged or motivated. And I'm using cooking as an example here because cooking at home has always been a practical task to do, to a point where I see it as a chore. So it's not something that I'm passionate about and very, very mildly interested actually. So how do I find the passion in that? So I'm thinking maybe it's a process, or it's a process that takes time. There has got to be maybe a moment, as you said, and maybe an epiphany to trigger that spark that, hey, I think I have something going here. You know? But I've been trying for the past 4 years, since I think past 4, 5, 6 years already. And oh well, my efforts have not been consistent. Once the novelty runs out, then things just goes flat again. So there's never really a passion for it, so to speak. Even when MCO, where we are forced to all stay at home, forced to eat at home, now even more so because prices of food and restaurants are going up. So is that the spark? I don't know.
It's a
And
God-given spark.
Yeah, and another example now is I've just recently joined a dance program. It's coming to the 6th week already. So I think the first 2, 3 weeks was like, oh, the momentum was high, the epiphanies were there, a lot of discoveries, but now it's coming towards a slump. So what do I do? So I'm actually this chapter is quite timely for me as well to find out how can I actually continue to fuel it. I mean, feel that interest or feel that initial novelty that I first have. How do you maintain it and slowly lead it into something big? So yeah, I think it is a process at the end of the day, and you do need to have some epiphanies to make you want to go further and to motivate you. If not, it's just gonna die off. Like me and cooking, it's just not going anywhere.
Right. So Tika, what do you think?
Yeah, at first I thought like a passion is something like magical, like Julia's story where she eat and she found out that she likes food and stuff, right? But then when I see my life, you know, like starting when I was in primary school, I actually involved in many activities, you know, starting from how do I say speech allocation contests, and then there are times where my mom would suddenly enroll me into dance classes, and then suddenly she signed me up into taekwondo class, and out of suddenly I found myself in a choirs group. So I'm like, it was a process of finding out what I like. I found out that I like music, but I'm not too passionate about it to learn about it. I found that I like martial art because it makes my body move around. But the thought of like, when you do martial art, you have to go classes and everything. I actually dreaded going to classes because my instructor was, how to say, very strict.
Straight,
She
yeah.
will, yeah, she will punish, like, if you're late, if your form is not correct, then she will be like, oh, you're wrong, okay, do push up, do pumping
Oh
and stuff like
gosh.
that. And I was like,
Tegasnya, you. Ishi.
yeah. We're in like primary school. I was like, oh, aren't you supposed to be lenient on us? Then she was like, no, I need to make you tough. I'm like, okay.
I
And
think it's
then
later we'll talk about it.
yeah, right. And then the dance classes is traditional class. Okay, I found that I have like interest in it, but I'm not talented enough. Because in traditional dances you have to require gracefulness and stuff like that. And I found out that I'm very kayu, so I cannot like. So I give up on that. But yeah, now I mean like in my late 30s, and restarting again. I would say finding out my what my passion is about. So yeah, it's more like a journey, and every stage of your life you're gonna find something new and you'll be like
I,
inclined whether you want to try it or not lah. But
yeah, and how far you want to go as well. Like me and cooking is like, I'm going backwards.
yeah.
And I turned the chore into a passion. It's like so far away. I just want to make porridge tonight.
So my own opinion on passion being a journey or epiphany, I think I agree with what Ray said, which is it's kind of both. Um, I hated calligraphy when I was younger. In Chinese school we had to learn the brush calligraphy, right? Oh my god, I hated it. I serious bloody hated it. Right? And then as I grew older, right, then I learned to appreciate that because I like reading. Okay, I love reading. I read a lot, and I started learning to appreciate font, like why this person uses this kind of spacing, why this person uses this kind of font, and how does that font affect my mood and my feeling, right? Even the font I use for our slides, I am quite particular about them.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. I can feel the passion coming through when I first saw the signs. Okay, there's a lot of thought put into it.
So that was not definitely not something that and then Kenji likes calligraphy. It was because I've been reading, right, and then some books, right, really trigger me because their font is crap. And that was when I noticed that, oh, okay, so that's why I like fonts. That's why fonts are important, and that's why Steve Jobs placed so much importance on having different fonts, right? So that is how I find interest in writing and fonts. But at the same time, right, I think epiphanies are also important, right? The example of cooking, okay? I I I am not a very good chef. I'll be honest, okay? But I like cooking, right? It's an interest of mine. But don't ask me to cook for like 1 million people every day lah. That one is not passion really. That's a job, right? But when what makes me figure out that I like cooking was because when I first saw my mentor make a French crepe, right?
Oh.
He took eggs, he took flour, he took sugar, and he made something that's totally doesn't taste like egg, doesn't taste like flour, doesn't taste like sugar.
It doesn't taste like flour, oh dear.
Yeah, so the whole thing is like magical, it's something totally different. It's an alchemical process, and that drew me in, then I became more interested in how the food is formed, what's the difference between roasting and baking, what's the difference between frying slightly and frying, deep frying, and what's the difference between making sure that there is a sear, and what's the difference between a sear and a burn. And then I noticed that, oh, my interest in cooking is there. And then later, as I continued understanding myself better, I found out that it is not just interest in cooking, but also interest in nutrition, what goes into our food. So that's how I found out that my passion is in nutrition. And that's why I'm now a nutritionist. Yay!
Hey.
So
Maybe you might open your own restaurant one day with healthy cooking and healthy food.
I've been there and I closed it already. So
Oh no, why?
so yeah, but that is why I think it's both an epiphany and also a journey. I think it's both. Like what Ray mentioned earlier, it's also triggers along the way, and also a ongoing thing. So yeah, so let's get back to the book. We went quite far. In the
Still
book,
waiting for that next year.
still waiting for that what?
Still waiting for my epiphanies.
which is something that which is something that is very interesting as we go along the chapter, right? Angela Duckworth starts talking about how we can actually find our passion, right? And she actually splits it into 4 things, right? Which are quite interesting. Here you go. Okay, so the first one, okay, is called discovery, development, and a lifetime of deepening, right? So the first thing that she talks about interest, right, is the discovery that you are interested in something. That's your first epiphany, I think, right? This is where all the triggers happen, the so-called triggers that Ray is talking about start happening, right? Your first trigger is discovery. Oh, you discovered that there's this thing called cooking. Or oh, you discovered that there's this thing called art, oh, there's this thing called fonts, like in the case of Kenji, right? Oh, font does this to me. Right? For example, my interest in coffee. I'm really interested in coffee and tea.
I like coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that might lead to something. I don't know.
yeah, that would, I think. Like for me, coffee started with me going to Taiwan and searching for tea. I went to Taiwan to search for tea. Yeah, really, because Taiwan has this particular tea, the oolong tea, right? So I wanted to go find tea. I went up the mountain. I came down from the mountain, and I met this lady. Then this lady said, "Are you crazy? The modern trend now is coffee. Why are you looking for tea?" Then I said, "No, because tea is elegant, tea is classic, tea is so profound. There's so many different flavors. This, that, na. And then she goes like, "Kenji, everything you mentioned about tea can be done with coffee. Let me show you." And she brews this pot of coffee that tastes exactly like tea. It is light, it has chocolatey taste, it has coffee smell, and it has fruity taste all the same time. I was like, wow, this is so deep, right? So that was my discovery of my interest in coffee. And then after that, I went through the development of getting to know more about coffee, right? She went and told me about, these are the guidelines for coffee. So go ahead and play around with the guidelines as much as you want, so that you can build your understanding of coffee, right? And then after that, it became a lifetime of deepening into coffee. I spent years and years and years going to places and being dung in coffee expos, going like, what is this? What is that? What do you mean by water washing? What do you mean by chemical washing? What do you mean by sun dried? You mean the coffee biji is bigger than my face? What the heck? So all these kind of things. So that is me with coffee, right? So what do you think, Ray? Do you agree with her statement that interest is built through discovery, development, and a lifetime of deepening?
Mm, there's nothing for me to challenge as far as far as I'm concerned. So, mm,
Tika, do you have anything to add?
I think I can agree with this because um I mean like I said earlier, my childhood is filled with discovery. I mean that was the
yeah.
time where I joined almost everything in the school that can offer that time. And my parents were like, okay, go ahead and try everything. Okay, but at the end of this, my parent will be like, whatever you try, you need to take science course.
Oh,
Aiyo. Oh, there's a condition there.
Yeah. So I was like, at that time I did. I mean, I like science subjects. So I was like, okay lah, I tried. And then my dad add another additional condition. You need to take accounts too. I'm like, okay, dad.
Ah,
Okay.
it's
So
like
yeah.
buy
okay.
one free two.
Yes. But at the same time, I managed to try out almost everything. I think I did that. I mean, I actually did a little bit of sport back then. Found out that I was a decent goalkeeper for my bola baling team. But when it comes to competition, I sort of like anxious. I couldn't catch any ball. But yeah, that's that. And then I tried dancing. It was fun, but not really something that I passionate about because yeah, dancing require a lot of graceful and stuff like that. I try a lot of dance too. You know, there's like the traditional. There's like the tarian lilin, the joget, the zapin,
Oh,
duku
Diane
de
Lilin.
kepang. Yeah, I try almost everything. And when you're like, because my mom taught in the same school, right? So being a teacher's
Mm.
daughter, so you have this privilege of trying out everything. You know, because teacher will choose you first before others. So yeah,
Oh,
something like that
okay.
lah. But if you're not talented, they will kick you out lah. Something like that. So
Yeah.
uh, I also involved in choral speaking. It was fun because I like the sort of like a group event. You're doing something together with your friends, something like that lah. That was in my school days. In my uni days, I don't remember what I did during my uni days. Sort of like blank out. Oh, I think I travel a lot. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because I studied in Unimas in Sarawak, right? So Unimas, I mean like Kuching, Sarawak itself is like an unknown territory for me. So I end up like every semester I will go here and there just to try out this. I actually managed to go Brunei on my own in my second year, so it was fun that time. So yeah, like I say, it's a discovery, you know. Until now I'm still trying to discover what my passion is. I think
Same.
yeah, and right now I am dabbling into fitness. I find that running is fun right now.
Wow. Okay.
Running, but yeah, it's like a lifetime of deepening lah. It's something like you have to
Keep
like
going at it,
Explore for
right?
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
whether you wanted to pursue on it or not is up to you. So yeah.
So
I think
yeah. Sorry, Ray, go on.
yeah, sorry, okay. Kenji, you go first.
Oh no, no, you go on because I'm gonna go to the next slide already.
Oh, okay. What I wanted to add to Ga's sharing is that it's like there's like so many options, and we are always in a phase of discovery. Myself included, like now doing book club. Then, as you know, I still like drawing, but I've not been drawing for a while. And then now I've decided to try out dancing, but mainly that's for body, mind, and soul wellness purpose. However, I think at the end of the day, it's our choice to decide which one we want to pick and stick to it.
True.
Yeah, and I think for most of us, we have an inkling actually on which one will sustain over the. To be really honest, I kind of know in my heart that I will be the one that's going to stay for a very long time. I mean, like it's always that interest that I will turn back to
Yeah.
Maybe it comes back to the very first question. If the world's going to end tomorrow, you're going to lose everything. What will you turn to? And to me, the answer is actually art. When you said art, I meant visual arts, not so much performing art. So when you say visual, then it comes in the area of painting, fine arts, digital art. It fall under that category. So yeah, it's interesting that as Attica, as a child, you were exposed to so many interests, and thinking as maybe a potential parent is like, as parents, potential parents, we would also like to we look at our kid and say where are their interests, and we expose them to everything. But I think at the end of the day, the one that will stick is the one that the child choose for himself or herself, and I think that's coming up inside the book.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about that.
I'm very thankful for Tika and Ray for actually bringing up the main points that I wanted to share with this slide. So thanks so much, guys. Because this slide, right, I actually prepared it here because it's very important for us to understand that discovery is important, but we cannot stop at discovery. We also have to go into development. We also have to go into a lifetime of deepening. So for example, right, Ray, with your cooking, you are at discovery. You just discovered cooking, and it's amazing. And then, do you continue into development of your cooking? That means, do you continue, like, for example, I want to be able to cook this style. I want to be able to prepare my dishes this way. Are you going into towards development? Or are you already at a stage where you have a lifetime of deepening? If you're not there yet, maybe that's the reason why you haven't got your passion, right?
Still not even discovery yet, because it's now at a chore. It's not like
now a chore
/ practicality. I need to eat. My partner needs to eat. Who can cook? I can cook. Okay. so it's like very level 1.
So I think it's like level 0, it's still like not even discovery, it's not even like, I can actually cook like this one,
Nope, not yet there. Although I do admit that there is some interest in Japanese cooking, so that's why that. Yeah, so I think, like, for example, all the nuances you were sharing, like what's the difference between searing, hand roasting, and baking, and things like that. So it appears that my interest in Japanese cuisine is gearing towards that. I'll ask questions like, how is it that the Japanese don't use a wok, they just use a pan, and every broth is all kelp based or bonito based. So like, where did that come from? Okay, so the questions are going in that direction, more towards a specific type of style of cooking. So it's like, okay, maybe that can be a start, because the epiphanies are in that area,
which
rather
leads
than
to
the
my
general.
next slide, right, which says interest is from interactions and not introspection. You will notice that all these questions that you're asking are questions that you ask outwardly. You're not asking yourself like, do I really know how to cook like a Japanese? Do I look like a Japanese guy when I'm holding the knife? Do I have a Japanese knife? You're not asking these kind of internal questions, no. You're asking all these external questions like, why do they do it this way? Why do we do it that way? So the more interactions that you have, then a higher chance that you are actually going to discover your interests. Right? That's exactly what the book says in this section, where after the fleeting interest, okay, the Jeff Bezos says one of the huge mistakes that people make is they try to force an interest on themselves. Okay, but the thing is, without experimenting, you cannot figure out which interest will stick and which doesn't, right? So the discovery usually is you don't notice one, okay, because you will notice boredom, but you'll never notice wow. You don't notice that. You just notice that I don't like this. You'll notice something else, right? So that is where the beginning of an interest starts, where you see people start interacting with something. The more you interact with something, then the more likely you're going to build an interest with something, right? For example, I am pretty sure that nobody has an interest in chicken rice by asking themselves if they like chicken rice. Can you imagine how funny will that be? You sit there in your room for half an hour asking yourself, do I really like chicken rice? You 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 have no interest in the chicken rice one. Then suddenly somebody walks past you, right, with a whole plate of strong smelling chicken rice, right? And then you go like, oh, wow, that smells good.
Yeah, I like the rice is so fluffy, you know, and then it's like soaked in the chicken stock, not the chicken fat. That's why it tastes so nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the interest in chicken rice is built when you are actually taking in the experience of chicken rice, not when you are thinking about the chicken rice, you know.
Hey, can we explore that more when you said what do you mean by taking in the experience versus thinking about it? I'm gonna write that in my notes actually.
Yeah, this comes from the chapter itself, and I think it's very interesting because you see, I suddenly cannot find the page where she mentions this. Where is it? It's somewhere around before hard work comes play. But yeah, so what she says is, okay, when you want to be interested in something, or when you are interested in something, right, it's about being exposed to it. Like for example, if I were to tell you this, Ray, there is a very fun experience, okay, launching yourself, okay, 300 kilometers per hour, without a roof in front of you, and without anything to hold you back except a piece of rope. And you'll be like, what? Why would I want to throw myself 300 kilometers per hour with nothing but a piece of rope, right? But from New Zealand, one of the biggest industries is bungee jumping, and that's what people are doing, right? They're throwing themselves off bridges with just a piece of rope, right? So, but
I wasn't allowed to do.
oh man, but how did people actually get interested in that? It's because they tried it and they liked it, right? So the interest in bungee jumping didn't come from sitting there and thinking about, oh my god, I'm going to throw myself off a bridge at 300 kilometers an hour tied to only a rope. No, it actually came from, oh my god, I did it and it felt so fun. It was so exhilarating. There was so much adrenaline, you know. Like for example, have you ever seen a 12-year-old kid, okay, come up and told you that, Koko, you know what? Skating is very fun because I get to sit on a board and run around at 60 kilometers per hour and fall down onto the staircase. No, right? But they will actually go out and skateboard and then go like, oh, this is fun, and then get more and more interested in it, right? So the interest always comes from exposure to the activity or to the hobby or to the passion, not from thinking about whether you like it or not. Right?
And also not, and I guess thoughts like, and not thinking that you will not be good at it, or thinking that there are others that are more talented than you. So it's a case of just immersing yourself in the experience, and yeah, not letting those thoughts get in the way. It's like, oh, I look silly, or I'm going to break my neck.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
I think a very good example will be your interest in cooking. Your interest in cooking right now is driven by introspection. What do I mean? You are cooking while thinking about how your cooking is going to be. You are not cooking while interacting with the cooking itself. You're not cooking. Sounds so deep. I'm so sorry. Because for a person to build interest, I think they should be spending the time thinking about interacting with the activity. For example, are you interested in music? Okay, then the time they spend is thinking about when they experience the music, how they feel. or what do they like about the music, or what do they hear from the music. Not so much about, do you like music? I think so. that's not an interest, that's not a passion, right? Yeah,
So when we
that's-
say interacting, is interacting the same as asking questions?
no, that's introspection.
Then what exactly is interacting then?
Interacting is actually touching, feeling, being active, and playing a role with the thing. That's what the interacting means in this particular chapter.
Meaning like if I like running, then I will spend time polishing my run, spending my money on my shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like if I like the taufu fa, right, I will spend the time eating the taufu fa and not thinking about whether the taufu fa is made out of taufu or made out of fa.
It's far again.
What is fa? I don't know. It's called taufu fa, right? So.
Yeah, I'm just interested. I mean, to explore about the interacting more because, as I said, I'm hitting a bit of a speed bump in my dance program, and I'm thinking that, as you said, there's too much introspection that's going on, and not enough interaction. So I'm going to put this to the test actually. After what we have discussed, put it to the test and see if I could actually get over this slump, because there is a noticeable slump.
Yeah, I think in the book, right, there is a story about Jeff Bezos, where his childhood, he has his mom who is unusually curious. So
Oh yeah.
So he goes around and tries all sorts of different things, right? And he actually goes out to try different things. Like when he's in middle school, there was one. Yeah, he took a string and tied the handles of all the kitchen cupboards so that when he opened one, all of them will open at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And then his mom was like totally okay with it, you know. Can you imagine doing that in an Asian family? Oh my god, your mom will come with the rotan faster than the cockroach, I tell you.
I get this I'll be responding. He said, "What's wrong with you? You immediately take to the hospital. Check
like
and
you-
get mental illness."
Yeah, it's like because of that you'll be labeled ADHD
Yes.
or some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, you see. When the mom actually was asked, right, do you actually understand what this guy is talking about? The mom actually said, it's not important that I understand everything, but it's important that I listen. Because when she is listening, alright, she's doing two things. One, she's interacting with him, building the interaction about the activity. Two, she's also encouraging him to inquire further into the activity. She is encouraging the development into the activity, the discovery of the activity as well as the development of the activity. So that is why it is so important to interact more. Like for example, me and calligraphy, right? Okay, it is more important for me to actually constantly draw and write and use fonts, okay, than to sit there and say, okay, this font is pretty, this font is not, this font is pretty, this font is not. Or ask myself, do I actually like calligraphy or do I actually like something else? That is more important. It is more important to actually be out there on the field trying it out than to ask yourself constantly whether you like it or not. That's what this part of the chapter is trying to tell us.
Yeah, and just to add to that, not only about whether do I really like, I mean, questions like, do I really like this activity or not, but whether am I good at it? There's others that are more talented than me, others are more hardworking than me. I think these are the questions that this introspection, as the book puts it, is what will douse the flame or make
Yeah.
you less and less interested. Now that the awareness is coming into me on what's actually happening, so like spend more. So I guess to put it more, to define what interaction is, it's like you and yourself. I wouldn't say asking questions, but it's like you are exploring yourself and the activity that you are immersing yourself in, and you block out any other noises that's not related to it. Whether you're good at it, whether you suck, whether you're hardworking or not, that's not the point. The point is, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
And what makes me feel good, what makes me don't feel good, how can I work better at it? So it's like, yeah, it's really interacting about you and the activity itself, if that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Rather than
kind of deep, right?
Yeah, rather than judging yourselves and already putting barriers up that I don't like this activity or finding excuses.
I actually just noticed something from this conversation that we are having, right? If you are focused so much on asking yourself about whether or not you like something,
Yep.
you are also building interest, okay? But you're just not building interest about the activity, you're building interest in yourself. So that makes you very narcissistic.
It's like you're interested in not in the activity, but it's in yourself.
Yeah, you're just interested in myself. I'm self-absorbed.
Yeah.
So I think it's still an interest, I suppose. It's just whether it's an interest in the thing that you want to be interested in. Oh no, we've only got 5 minutes left. This chapter is so interesting. Oh my god.
It's so deep, right? It's so deep, right? The whole interaction versus introspection thing. Because I think it is what is going to make or break your interest. When you think about it, whether you go far in it.
Especially when you just discover an interest, that introspection
Yeah, that's
thing,
right.
oh my god. Yeah. So do you guys think we want to end here, or do you want to continue one more slide? I think we've got time for one more slide.
Let's do one more slide.
Okay, I really like this slide, so that's why I wanted to do this. Interest grows from constant immersion. Yeah. So this is what Ray was talking earlier, right? Ray was like, oh, you need to immerse yourself in it. You need to immerse yourself in it. You need to immerse yourself in it. Okay, Ray, immerse yourself in it, please.
Because as I said, that would be an experiment for me because I'm really encouraged speed bump, and through this, this book club session, I've discovered that because I've been doing too much introspection and not enough interaction or immersing myself in the activity itself. So it's like this is gonna be an experiment for me.
Which is true. One of the things that it's different from immersion is slightly different from interaction, okay, that I notice, okay, is that when we talk about interaction, we talk about actually participating in the activity, okay? But immersion is getting more knowledge about the activity, right? For example, I am quite familiar with Bitcoin and stuff like that, right? So at the beginning of my interest in Bitcoin and stuff like that, I was the one actively trying out the technology, mining my own couple of Bitcoins and things like that. But after the initial part, right, my interest continues growing because I talk to people about Bitcoin. I talk to people about mining, right? For example, coffee. At the beginning, when I started getting interested in coffee, it was interacting with the coffee, drinking the coffee, tasting the coffee, eating coffee beans just like that, right? I think we all need to be at least a bit narcissistic to always better ourselves. No, nothing wrong with that. Okay, but we're talking about building an interest here. So, like what Ray said, right? If you're too narcissistic, you end up killing your interest before you get there, and then the only thing that you are ever interested in is yourself. So constant immersion for me means when I was talking about coffee to my friends, when I'm reading up about coffee with my friends, that's immersion. I am immersing myself in the world of coffee. In terms of nutrition, I did the same thing, right? I can't be eating vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E every day, right? I can't interact with the vitamin every day, right? That's that's beyond my control. I can't have a constant supply of vitamin C popping into my mouth like that, right? But I can immerse myself in the knowledge of vitamin C. I can immerse myself in the understanding of vitamin C. I can go and get lectured on mitochondria and very technical things about nutrition and supplementing, right? So that is what I think immersion is. I think Tika is a very good example of interaction with interest. I'm not sure if she has constant immersion in it, except for running. I know she's constantly immersed in running.
Yeah, constant immersion in my running because right now that's my interest lies on. And then fitness also. Right now I'm like the person that I follow most in the social media is all mostly fitness gurus and trainers. And then I find myself like googling on how to improve my running. So I would say it's a constant immersion on my part. Yeah.
Right,
Where my
right.
interest goes, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that your interest started in running because you ran, but after that, your interest continues and gets bigger and stronger because you constantly ask people about. I mean, you're the first person to come up to me and say, "Oh, I've got this particular type of foot, so I need that particular type of shoe to be able to run better and stuff like that." I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you start learning about your heel and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I need to fix my heel.
I'm like, I didn't know about these things. It was like, wow, you must be very interested.
To the point I have like at least 4 pairs of running shoes right now.
That's really immersive. Really.
And then it's coding. I mean, like, and I wear it like according to my mood.
Wow. But I believe in that because for me, right, I'm interested in cooking, so I've got like 2 pairs of cooking knives and 1 set of like paring knives and stuff. So I can understand where you're coming from. The equipment becomes the part of the immersion.
Yeah, true.
Not to mention the number of fountain pens I have.
Don't start on the fountain pens. I actually have like 3 now. And my ink collection is growing.
So yeah, that's I'm pretty sure we'll lose to Ray in terms of number of paintbrushes she has.
Got a lot of pens actually, and I'm looking at them and I keep buying them. Brushes not so much. Pen brushes.
Okay, now it starts to sound like a male locker room where everybody is talking about pens. Okay, so I think we have enough time to reach here. I think it's great. Let's end this topic here. Maybe we can give everybody a sneak peek of what's coming next week. Next week is something I feel very, very powerful for Ray. Okay, this is going to be a very interesting topic for Ray, and I think we should talk about that next week. Right?
Environment builds interest.
Yeah. Some people I've met in the local fine art music circle has quite high narcissism and are super proud of what they have achieved, and that keeps them going. That is very true, Eva, which is very, very important for the next slide, actually the last slide that I've prepared for this week. But our time is up. I am sorry guys, but we shall end the live stream here. Alright, those of you guys who are interested in continuing this conversation, DM me or leave a message and we'll invite you into the WhatsApp group where we can continue this chit chat. Alright, so okay, we will continue next week with chapter 6 on interest, where environment builds the interest. Who you are with matters. Alright, okay, thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all next week. Ciao. Bye bye.